All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into July 8th, 2019, and the stock market is ready to move. I got some fun facts for you. We got a bunch of plays, and we have a recap of what we have to look forward to this week. The main theme of the day is going to be the Super Bowl. I'm going to explain that here in a little bit, but we have a lot to look forward and a lot of plays, so getting right into it, let's look at our keys for tomorrow and this week. We have the FOMC minutes as well as the ECB minutes, so that is going to have the potential to move the market. Again, we're going to talk about all of this in the grand scope of things. We are then going to see the China balance of trade and as well as the German manufacturing. And last week, we did see those effects. And again, the market was responding last week to the jobs report and everything else. We had the holiday, and this is part and part why we have this title here today. The holiday season is now over, and it's entering a very, very unique time. And do not forget, we have earnings around the corner. So we're going to be going over all those live on stream. I want you guys to bring your plays, bring what you have for earnings. This is the time we look up at it. And also go through the videos we have. I have full 30-40 minute lessons on how to find earnings plays and pick the best ones, and then even do it into options, because I'm sure a lot of you are asking, do I straddle, do I do this, that, yeah, yeah. But that reminds me, more importantly than anything, ladies and gentlemen, post your watch list below. Tell us what you're playing. Let's source that info, and we're going to be live 30 minutes before open. YouTube.com. Oh, wait, I messed that up. There it is. /the stock market. That's all you guys got to do. It'll take you to this beautiful page, and now you just have to hit that bell. Make sure you hit that bell and you don't miss it, but we're going to see you there in the morning. I'm excited for everything we have this week. If you made it out alive, you're lucky. We got one more week, really, I think, and it's going to be real game time, but it could happen here. And then also as well today, or coming into tomorrow, we are going to have the semi-annual monetary policy report with Powell. They've already released it, but now he is going to go in front of Congress to do this twice a year, semi-annual, and he's going to answer questions from Congress, and they're going to discuss all of this. They usually grill him. Honestly, it's not as fun as it used to be with Janet Yellen, because she was just a triple OG. But this could be telling. And all of these events, from the minutes to the balance of trade and then this report, they have the ability to impact the market. But as we've been discussing with bond rates and everything else, we know what to be keeping our eye out for. And even then, the bond rates are starting to come down, and a lot of things are pointing to big moves in bonds. You got Bitcoin doing its thing, gold as well, the dollar, even some other global currencies. Even after hours, I don't know if this is it. Yeah, the Turkish lira started crashing after, and again, it's not as bad. It could be a lot worse, but if this does get out of hand, it'll be important. But the Prime Minister just fired the head of the central banker, the head of their central bank, and again, I'm going to be paying attention to any currency moves, but this is what I want to get to. It is going to be the Super Bowl, my friends. And what I mean by that, it is our first real volume week, meaning we're not going to have anything slowing us down. We're coming into July, and there's a lot of hype into what could happen. It's either going to be the most exciting game, every play, it's going to be high score, and touchdown, run it back, this and that. You're all hyped. We know it's the Super Bowl, good commercials, or it's going to be like the Super Bowl we had last year, and it's going to be this longest, boringest game ever, and it's all going to boil down to one or two plays at the end. And that is what I'm expecting here, is that if it does start to get exciting and the excitement keeps up, we still have to keep our eyes out for any other global news. There's even Iran and their enrichment and what they plan to do. Israel responded, as well as even what happened with the UK and them seizing that tanker. So that is going to be very, very important. Even then, too, coming into the earnings, the real earnings are going to start kicking off around next week. There is a few that are going to happen here, so we got to prepare for that. But let me leave you with this. I got this off Zero Hedge, so take it with a grain of salt, but it is true, and you guys have heard me discuss this as we start to get into crucial areas into this seasonality. I really think August is when it starts to get crazy. It's kind of nuts to think about. For the people who've been watching since October and the last decline, it's almost been a year, and it's crazy that is right around the corner. And shout out all my subscribers, man. Shout out Chad. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. So if you guys have been here that long, you're triple OG. If you've been longer, I love you even more. I love all of you guys. It's great. I'm really excited. You better get in the game and get ready to go. But here's your fun fact. July 13th through October 12th has historically been the worst 90-day period for equity returns since 1990, possibly because liquidity and risk appetite tend to worsen after second quarter results. So that does make a lot of sense, and things are going to prepare in for that. We have to be able to determine, has the market priced it in and whatnot. And again, I really encourage you to go watch my earnings video we already have here in terms of using the option chain to know what the stock market is expecting for these earnings plays. Let me know what you guys think on all of this, and now let's get into the plays. I want to start setting into earnings plays, and these plays have been catching my eye with how the market is. And again, when it does come to earnings, these will be some of the first ones to report, as we saw it even happen not too long ago with with FedEx, but the transports. I want you guys to watch IYT. That is the whole transportation index. There's still a decent sized divergence with the SPY, but I want to keep my eyes out for IYT. You could see CSX, even UPS. They kind of all look like they're doing the same, so I want to see, looking at the past earnings could give us a lot into how some of these are playing, but I like the transports, and I think we're going to see those take a move. And honestly, we saw this last week. If you guys start to see oil move, pay attention to the transports. Any big moves in oils will affect companies like CSX, UNP, all that. So I like those. Let me know what you guys think about those. Watch those specifically. I will be looking at FedEx. And I'm going to, again, people are going to say, well, calls or puts, both sides. I really want to see if it does break down lower, we go for puts. But if the market does start to show positivity and bounce and anything of that nature, they will be good. The point I'm bringing these up when we get to the option chain, I could show you guys, you're going to see a unique thing. Even coming into the earnings, you'll get to notice that even when you come out to August, the puts have gone down in value. Take a look at the calls. The calls have gone down in value. It's cheap on both angles. The point is, it's not really cheap. It's appropriate priced. I've went on a rant about this because sometimes if it's not cheap, it's appropriate priced. And if it's appropriate priced, that means is expected to expire at zero. Remember, options are insurance and people are buying these for a reason. So keep your guys' eyes out on that. The next is going to be the chip makers. There has been a lot of positive and negative news going back and forth ever since the Huawei to now. They're getting, I forgot what there was another piece of news that they're getting blocked somewhere else, but it's going back and forth with how the chip makers, and again, it's not all Huawei news, but it's just related to the industry. So watch NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and AMD. There is going to be Micron and Intel as well. I think Intel is going to be a good slow mover. Really, I want to just see the health of the industry. If I am going to go after anything, even coming into earnings, I want NVIDIA. It's going to have Bitcoin effect. It is going to be the bigger mover, and we talked about this the other day. AMD is good for the shorter term contracts at the beginning of the week because it could still get time premium and make the underlying move. But when we're trying to get in the money on a play, NVIDIA is the best one, I believe, for the chip makers just because you're able to get dollar for dollar. So now calls or puts on NVIDIA, I'm thinking call side on it. But it is going to be very, very similar to the FedEx situation, whereas if it does start to break down and we see bad news on the chip makers, I'm going to go for those as well too, because I'll go for the put side. However, I am definitely more inclined to go for a call if they do, because pretty much if chip makers do start going down, and I'm not going to get a put on this individually, I'd rather just play Apple. And I already have that premium sell on it, so that could give you a little bit more insight. But even then, coming into here, puts are down, calls are down, but not as much. But once these start capitulating, it's starting to get good on both sides. So I like NVIDIA, but watch AMD, Micron, and especially Qualcomm. I would say that is my next favorite. It's holding up, and we saw what these contracts did when they ran up there. So NVIDIA and Qualcomm are going to be my two favorite chip makers. And lastly, coming in on a different sector, UNH, and I brought this up last week. The same thing still applies. The inverse or the rotation out of, depending on what the market does, if there is a rotation into healthcare. Now, if the market does go up, I wouldn't be surprised to see UNH go down, or go up, But if it does go down, be ready to react and try to observe that quickly. However, I do like the healthcare, UNH, and Biogen. I still got those longer term Biogen plays and Regen as well too, but I don't have any plays set up. Really, I weekly snipe on this, or I'll go maybe about two to 4 weeks out, but I want to look at UNH as a bounce play. But the thing you got to be careful of, and it's done this a lot, you have to be able to determine, is UNH going to continue the path upward when it makes a move, or is it going to make a move and then stall out? This is how a lot of you guys would get killed. However, it's a slow mover. Don't panic. Really, the target you have to be setting for is what will it get to in the money by the end of the week if you are playing something short term. But I like those two a lot, and I'm going to keep my eye out for them. Call those out in the chat, baby. Next is Dish. This one is very, very interesting. Again, they've been having the deal stuff. You could even watch Sprint and T-Mobile and all this stuff going back and forth. You could even see Broadcom. Oh, that was the last chip deal with Symantec. I forgot about that, but keep an eye on that too. Watch how that develops, even Howard Hughes Corp. But Dish just had talks. This was about 30 minutes ago before making this video. They said that Google and Dish are talking of making a fourth phone carrier. So I think that could be interesting. We'll see how Google responds to that as well. But I like both of those a lot. The next play, Disney. Now, earnings is coming up around the corner. And this chart I'm saving for earnings, because the next thing we're going to watch out is banks. Those are going to be the first ones to report. And then Disney, just how it's been playing, how it's been holding up. Again, even you can't forget the good news and good earnings they had last time. I'm liking everything about it. It's holding up. The contracts are down, but they're still kind of up. So I haven't got in. I'm kind of hesitant. I'm waiting for my opportunity to set it up, but I think coming into next week, possibly tomorrow, I will begin scaling into my earnings plays on Disney, but I like it for the call side. I think there will be some put exposure, but in general, something showing this much resilience, especially kind of a value stock dividend payer like Disney, I'm all about it. Oh, and speaking of which, because the next thing I'm going to get to is the banks, one thing I'm not all about and I think is just really going to die, Deutsche Bank. I don't know if you guys saw the headlines from here. They're not paying their 2019 dividend. They're not paying their 2020 dividend. They closed their Asia offices. A lot of shit hit the fan with Deutsche. So is it Deutsche? I don't know. I'm sure someone's going to make fun of me on that. I'm going to call it Deutsche. Hey, Deutsche Bank, huh? Any of you bank with Deutsche? It's bit. I could have said a way worse misspelling, so just be thankful I said Deutsche and not, I won't go there. But watch them. I like DB. Again, but be careful. It's an $8 stock. So if you're going after the puts, especially if tomorrow the house is on fire, insurance is going to be expensive. So be careful. This is one you could be patient. Wait till it makes the first move or two, then go after it. I don't know about shorting it too. It's just going to be, it's a smaller price stock. Be careful. However, we could look for sympathies and we want to see how this affects any of the other banks. You guys could even look at HSBC Global, because DB is not a domestic bank. It's not U.S. bank. So if anyone's going to have risks, it's going to be companies similar to them, and HSBC is one of those. But there you go. We got Disney. We got that. And just keep your eyes on that. Next one is going to be Netflix, because they are usually first in the earnings cycle. And again, I don't know I think call and put on this, but the fact it's held up since January, I've been talking about this a lot. I think the fact if it goes up and breaks out above here, that'll be a good sign. However, I'm not too convinced. I am kind of feeling the put side more than the call side, but everything is going to come down to pricing when we're setting up our plays. But continue to think about setting up a play on Netflix, and I like that. But also in conjunction, we saw this be epic last week, and finally we got one of these big movers that hit the highs recently. This reminds me of Zoom and Beyond and all that, but it's finally, it hit an all-time high, base is out, and now it's ready to come up. So again, related to Netflix, that could be good. Even Disney as well. So this could be a good one to play week by week, and then we set up our earnings plays on Netflix and Disney. That's at least what I'll be doing. So watch Roku. I think that's going to be great. And now Wells Fargo and Goldman Sachs. These are going to be the two bank stocks I want to watch, and I think Bank of America and Citi and even JP Morgan come around Monday, Tuesday next week after this. So keep your eyes out for them. But the whole point is these will be the first companies to start reporting in those lists of earnings, them in transports. So get your eyes out for those. Call them out and set up our plays. But also remember too, some of these plays like the banks, I've been looking at these plays. It might be cheaper to play after earnings than before. So there's a little bit of contrast to the whole earnings situation, and start thinking about that. You guys, if you can't afford something or you want to buy something, but it's too far at the money, a bad quality play, a good play is nothing. You don't buy anything and you use your time and not your money. And what I mean by that is you wait. Yeah, you'll miss out opportunity cost if something happens, but at the end of the day, you don't lose money. And if you're right, you'll get the contracts at a much, much affordable price that are higher quality and a higher probability that are going to make you money. So keep your eyes out for that. And lastly now, the undefeated champion of the world in value stocks, giving us 2,000% a week, McDonald's. So this thing is going to be epic. I want to see what happens. If it does, why I say epic, because if it keeps going up and goes to 215, it's going to give us a couple dollars of room there. I might hate the contracts at 215, but we'll buy them like next week if there's the momentum. I'm not going to fight the market on it, even though it fights my own opinions towards it. But if it does start to go down, it'll be good. But watch them for rotation, calls or puts. But you guys know me, 90% calls all the time. If it does start to go down, unless it's massive red candles and a massive sell-off, then I'm going to wait on it. But I love it. I'm going to keep my eyes out for those, and we have a lot to look forward. So watch also gold, TLT, GLD, JNUG, all those. I think those could start getting into plays. But other than that, my friends, that is all. I hope you have a good weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you get some rest, stay hydrated, and I hope you're ready for tomorrow and got your watch list posted. Let's go!